Very nice to be with you, Asad, and in this incredible world that you and those close to you have created. Tell us a little bit about it. We're in the video game High Rise, and one that we're both somewhat familiar with. And yeah, what do we think about this jungle paradise that you've created?
Well, I honestly am not going to take any credit for the jungle paradise. This is my girlfriend put this together, and when you mentioned that we should talk as avatars, I thought of High Rise. I don't use it regularly or anything, but I think my avatar looks very much like me here.
It's really, really cute. Here, come over to this side so that we're looking at each other.
I'll join you while you sit on the swing.
There you go. I mean, I'll sit on the swing for a little bit, and then you can lie on the hammock. Okay. So it'll be even.
I love that.
Who's getting kind of
moving around as we do this.
A little bit of fairness. Yeah. Well, tell me how jetpacks are going, and Meebits and this world and all of that. How have you been thinking about the wonderful world of NFTs recently?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing for us has really been, over the last couple of months, we realized that, we were building a lot of holograms of various celebrities, and things were going well in many ways. Right before we got into kind of Meebits and jetpacks, we had just done a hologram of Lil Nas X that had reached a lot of people.
I remember.
Kind of all over TikTok, and the kind of thing we were going after, there was a lot of validation there. But regardless of that validation, the NFT space was emerging, and the more time I spent in it as, a collector myself and as an artist myself, that I was, we put out a music video that I directed with Pussy Riot as an NFT that did really well. And, so the more I found myself engaged in the space, the more it became pretty abundantly clear to me that this was the next step. And the convergence of where AR and VR were heading in terms of technology and experience had to meet the new models of Web3 that are the new kind of monetary models and ownership models of Web3. It started to just make a lot of sense. So with that in mind, we were like, well, the AR is a really big thing. AR is a really important thing where, augmented reality, the biggest difference is it's not just in the game world. It actually does affect and impact the real world. And
let's go upstairs as we're
okay. So I'll come join you upstairs. Like it affects the real world and real physical infrastructure. And if one's going to build a world that affects real physical infrastructure, building it on the principles of Web3 that are more kind of communal and collaborative, just made a lot of sense. So yeah, it's been incredible over the last couple of months, kind of going through pretty much a hard pivot, and building out Jadu as a different app, building it out as very much kind of intended to be the definitive Web3 AR platform. That's really how we're thinking about it now. And in order to do that, we needed to build the pipelines to let people in with their existing avatars, right? Like Axie Infinity, you have to buy Axies in order to enter the world. We wanted you to be able to enter with avatars that you feel closest to, that you already purchased, or you're going to purchase out of all the tons of new 3D asset-based avatars that are going to be coming out over the next year or so. And we thought that we want to essentially give you utility for those avatars. We want you to be able to play with them. We want you to have things to do with them. And jetpacks, was kind of our first, accessory item, essentially saying, we want to just showcase how secondary items can be created and how, if you have an avatar now, you can just do a lot more with it with an accessory. So jetpacks became that, and it's been really incredible. It's been exactly a week since we put out jetpacks. And yeah,
what's the reaction been like? How people? That's crazy.
So I mean,
and when do I get to? When do I get to have you and I like using jetpacks together in a virtual world? Is that like tomorrow kind of thing, or
jetpacks are gonna be in the app starting next Friday. So we're launching this new version of the app. So it's pretty soon. But in terms of, two people being in it together, that's definitely further down the roadmap. But I don't think it's too far away.
We both know, some of those problems of multiplayer and all of that.
Exactly. I think the first step is kind of allowing for these pipelines to have a lot of metaverse assets available in AR. Second step is to do persistent rooms so that the items can stay in your room persistently, and your room kind of becomes your spatial wallet where your Meebit sitting on your couch.
Interesting.
And, your photos on your wall, and it's kind of like a persistent space you go to. And over time, the multiplayer interactions become where you can give keys to your room to your best friends that essentially can, come visit your room, leave you items, leave you NFTs, play a game with you, things of that nature. And then over time, the intention
is insane. I didn't know any of this. This is so cool. This next level of the kind of, I love that.
Yeah, so it's been honestly really validating the last week or so. Now finally having a token on the market and seeing people's reaction to what we put out, and we're already gearing up for the second item. And from just a monetary perspective, it's validating in the sense that we were just talking about how Jake Sally is working with us now, and Jake's done like 40 projects over the last 5-6 years. He's been a producer on like 40 XR projects, and we made more money in 20 seconds of a jetpack sale than all those 40 projects combined.
It's crazy.
So,
right?
Yeah, like I think in terms of actually finding models that can facilitate, AR to be produced, this is also just really incredible.
I mean, we've got a new friend over here, part of the realities of working in the metaverse is that we're all quite open to each other. So what when you say a second accessory, are you oh my gosh, Rose for Good also has some thoughts on virtual beings and augmented reality.
I think she's writing actually Farsi.
Is this a language that you are familiar with, Asad?
I can read it, but I can't quite, like, I can understand a few words, but it's not gonna, like, I'm not gonna have a Korean conversation or anything.
It's pretty global. I mean, it is kind of inspiring. Obviously, you and I are in different cities, so we're able to communicate here and not have to look like we're in some terrible Zoom hell. So what is the second accessory? What can you say? And, what are you, outside of, maybe give us 2 years from now, like what can you imagine with different kinds of accessories for NFTs? And these are mostly, the idea would be like, here's your NFT avatar, here are accessories for the avatars. So it's mostly around of characters. Is that right?
Yeah, I think, accessories, they're also tools, they let you do things, really. Like, they're not just aesthetic only. So I can't really say what the next item is because there's a lot of speculation right now in our Discord and our community about what the next item is. And that is exciting. I want that speculation to continue. So can't confirm yet, but really the intention of the item is to offer a cheaper price point for people to enter the world now the jetpacks have kind of established a floor. So the cheapest jetpack right now is 3 ETH. That's obviously like $10,000 on a good day for Ethereum. That's a lot of money to enter a world. And the kind of ultra rare jetpacks, the floor is already around 15 ETH. So basically what we want to do is we want to offer a secondary item as soon as possible that has bigger supply and more people can enter at cheaper price points. And
how many jetpacks were there?
There are 1,111. There are 1,111 jetpacks. So one. And
I've mostly seen them with Meebits, but do you see them with other characters too?
Yeah, the way we built the jetpacks, initially they were designed for Meebits, but we basically decided that we want our items to actually be used by as many avatars as possible. So, that's interesting, right? Because the jetpacks were kind of designed for Meebits. They're 20,000 Meebits and they're slightly over 1,000 jetpacks. But then we kind of expanded our view of what jetpacks could do. And now they work on every avatar that is 3D that our system will support. So in the near future, this version that comes out on next Friday will have Meebits. Then a new version update is going to be adding voids, which are these alien-like characters to it as well. Then we were adding fluffs as well. And then basically after that, we're adding, we're just in a position where a lot of these collections, we don't even have to partner with their creators in order to add them. That's really kind of the beauty of the permissionless nature of the blockchain, where if you own a Bored Ape, which, I've had a couple of Bored Apes and I have a bunch of mutant apes now, and I know that they're working on 3D models. In fact, that's on their roadmap 2.0. So as soon as all the ape holders have 3D assets for their apes, they actually have the rights to take them where they want. So all we have to do is build a pipeline for ape owners to basically authenticate their wallet and give us access to their 3D file. And we can then build plenty of utility for their assets that doesn't exist anywhere yet. And the way the jetpacks are built is that any assets we add in the future, the jetpacks can be used with. So now not only can jetpacks be used within Jadu and different worlds, which is another thing we're kind of doing. We're going to have jetpacks in Sandbox, for example, and Decentraland, and CryptoVoxels.
That's
and
so cool.
So not just can the jetpacks be used in other worlds, but they can be used by more and more avatars in our world, which increases the supply infinitely. So that's why it's so important for us to have alternative flight-related items ready to go as well. So that's kind of the next step.
I did not think there was like a David Lynch mode. Are you able to see the head of this character, or is it just me?
No, I don't see the head. This is some crazy.
Who is this character? This is actually kind of cool. ISLT, I'm artist, photographer, full-on gamer. We should be hiring this person to work in Web3.
Probably not a bad idea.
This could be the Q&A portion. But I'm a little worried about whether or not they're going to speak. I know they're Welsh and Turkish. Very cool combination. Well, let me take a couple of questions, pre-written questions from the audience, and which worlds can I use my jetpack in? And maybe, I guess they didn't put a time limit on it. You mentioned Sandbox and other things, but in the next couple of months, what worlds will people be able to use these jetpacks in?
So we had a conversation today with the CEO of Sandbox, who tried to get a jetpack and couldn't on the public sale because it was hard to get. But he does have a jetpack now, and we had a big conversation about both bringing Sandbox assets into AR through Jadu, and also about having jetpacks actually function in the Sandbox, which is a new concept because Sandbox allows for accessories, but they don't really allow for accessories to work. So jetpack functionality is like native functionality Sandbox is going to have to build within their platform. And we saw tremendous willingness to build that. They were like,
that's so cool.
Yeah, so that's really exciting. In terms of other worlds, we just need some more time in order to really understand. They all have their own rules, like Decentraland. I think only if you own the land can you have custom functionality. So it's not really like a native thing that can just be all over Decentraland immediately. But we can, we are willing to partner with some landowners and build, the functionality that's really plug and play. If they want jetpacks to work on their land, they could do that. So, we're kind of exploring those kind of avenues, but currently our priority as well, we're kind of in the midst of raising financing and putting our app out and onboarding existing collections and, launching more jetpack functionality within the app, getting ready for our second item. So there's a lot on our plate right now. We're just hoping to kind of get out of this current moment with more resources and just hire a lot more people and just be able to tackle a lot more. So that's kind of what we're in the midst of.
And then last question from the audience: when will AR glasses let me see my jetpack? So I guess it's kind of a double question there in terms of can today I hold up my phone, and so where are we at today in AR? Where do you see, who do you think will be the first pair of AR glasses that actually maybe isn't amazing, but at least is base functionality of a pair of AR glasses? And what do you kind of see for it? So where's AR and Jadu today? Where's AR and Jadu in 18 months, do you think?
Well, I mean, anyone that knows my work knows that I started with headsets, and actually I kind of swore to myself to not use mobile AR ever, and clearly I've broken that promise to myself. The whole point of doing AR for me was to kind of get rid of interfacing with technology purely through a flat rectangle in your hand. Just doesn't really make sense in the long term. And we built Terminal 3 on HoloLens, we built a Jester's Tail on the Magic Leap. And after that, we kind of just realized that, the headsets, they're really good already. But in order to build great AR for headsets, when headsets are mainstream, you're much better off actually, working on mobile and working with kind of a less immersive version of headset of augmented reality, but doing it with people. We think that there's kind of
that is slightly,
there's like a psychological.
It's a small but important point, having actual people involved in the process.
Like in any new medium, there's like a psychological, communal, social, like there are these elements that need to be figured out for that medium that aren't purely like what the interaction is or what the technology. It's really like, what are people really looking for in it, and like, how that communal thing kind of comes together. And we realize that is actually more important to figure out than any sick interaction we can design in a silo. And because of that, we moved to mobile, and we think that we have a head start now. We're building things people are using. If you look at, okay, I'm kind of going maybe off topic a bit, just going back to headsets briefly. So I don't know exactly when headsets are going to just make perfect sense. Obviously, you have plenty of people who've been, spreading rumors about how Apple's going to release AR headsets like every year for the last 5 years. Like every year, it's like huge rumor that Apple's releasing an AR headset. So I'm kind of over that a bit at this point. We're just trying to build what works right now. We're not contingent on what's going to work in a couple of years. We're trying to just make it make sense for now. We think mobile AR has just been very limited in how people approach it. Most mobile AR is really Snapchat and Instagram right now, which I have tremendous respect for them putting together their platforms and making it as mainstream as it is. But at the end of the day, anything you're experiencing with a camera button in the middle and a scroll wheel around it, where everything is kind of compartmentalized into its own individual filter, and there isn't really cross-pollination of items, and you're kind of preoccupied with recording a 2D video before you can even have a 3D experience. We're really trying to get out of that mindset. It's riskier, but we're trying to get out of it. So our priority is a very object-oriented design approach to building AR, where you have items that are apps, right? Like the jetpack is an app. The Meebit can use the jetpack to fly around and combine it with other items that are also apps. So I think that is how headset-based AR is really going to work. It's not going to work with the same design principles that we're kind of seeing on mobile. And we're already building with that intention. So when is it going to happen? Definitely over the next couple of years. A lot of things are converging, but we try to stay away from speculating about that and instead just try to make it work for now.
I mean, you and I have both been burned with that, with trying to figure all that stuff out. So
exactly.
Well, cool, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. I super appreciate it. And thank you very much.
Absolutely.